These are TriBit's new MoveBuds H1. They are sport-focused TWS earbuds. They do support the aptX codec, AAC and SBC, which is pretty standard there. And they've got a battery life that is anything but standard. These ones will go for up to 15 hours is their claim, and an additional 50 hours from the case. So they have ear hooks on them, so they're very comfortable to fit on these, so ideal for runners and any sports activities because they're not going to be able to pop out on you. And they do even have an IPX8 waterproof rating with these, which is 3 feet or 1 meter. They can be submerged in water for up to 30 minutes and still be perfectly fine. So in this review, I'll cover the design of them, comfort of them, what they sound like, battery life, microphone sample, and my pros and cons of testing out now the MoveBuds H1. Inside the box of the MoveBuds H1, you will find 5 pairs of additional silicone tips here, various sizes. So find the pair that fits your ears the best to give you the best seal, and you get in return the best sound quality. There is a user guide, and that goes over our touch controls. It's in various different languages. And then a Type-C to Type-A USB cable. So you just use your phone charger or any USB charger, and the charge time will be around approximately 2 hours for the case and the earbuds. The MoveBuds weigh 11 grams each, and the total weight of the case and the earbuds inside it is 93 grams. Our case here is a little larger than what you would typically get with earbuds. That's because of the style of them, of course. So it's natural that a larger style earbud with the ear hooks on it is going to need a larger case. So it still will fit in, say, a jeans pocket or most pockets because of the size of it. Now with this case, we get an additional 50 hours. Out of the earbuds, you get 15, or up to 15 is their claim there, of course. So here we have status LEDs at the front. Each one represents 25% of the battery life. And when you see just 2 lights on, like now, that is telling us that it's charging the earbuds that are within. You can see the status LED on the back of them. So that surface there is the capacitive touch surface. And this lid closes down with a magnet. It keeps it in place, so it's not going to rattle around. And when I give it a bit of a shake, I do actually hear a few rattles from the earbuds within it, but not the lid of this. And the plastic here used is good. It picks up a few fingerprints, but it's not too bad. On the back, you'll see a few little letters and labeling on there for legal reasons. They've got all that on there too for the EU, the CE mark and everything. And here we have a Type-C port on the back for charging. And overall, the case finish is quite nice. But let's have a look at those earbuds in detail now. Build quality of these, like the plastics of the case, is good. So around this part, all this area, there are no sharp edges. This is the capacitive touch surface. Looks like we've got a status LED right there, but we don't. That's just for aesthetics there, just a little red mark. Now this part is flexible from that part onwards, and that is the ear hook, of course. So it goes around your ear, really locks them into place, and they're going to stay put. So if you run, you jump, any sports, they're not going to come out. They're super solid in that regard there. Now, after wearing these for about 2.5 hours, I've noticed that I do get a few pressure points on my ear. They feel a little uncomfortable after about that 2.5 hour mark, and I need to take them off and give my ears a bit of a rest there. But that's kind of normal with this style, but it's enough for going for a run or whatever, that you can have them on and they're comfortable for that and they're just not going to come off. Now they are IPX8 waterproof, so that's great. That's 1 meter or 3 feet. So you don't have to worry about accidentally dropping these in a sink or getting them wet or sweating or whatever. It's not going to be a problem for them at all. Now these silicone ear tips, just wanted to comment on them, that they're good. They're holding up fine. They haven't softened up now after quite a few days of use and wearing these for lengthy periods, which can happen to some cheaper ones. You can see the 2 contact charge points right there. And again, there is no sharp edges with any of these plastics around this, which is great. So overall, good quality build to it. And you will see that there are these 2 little holes. So that's the microphone. We've got one there, and there's one on the other side. That is to do with the noise cancellation for the microphones, and it does have that pass-through feature. What it is lacking is ambient noise cancelling. We don't have it with these, which I don't really think you need for sports-orientated earbuds anyway. This I really do like, that there is an application. So many other brands that I cover and review just don't bother with applications. And why is it important? Well, for 2 things. Firmware updates and a global equalizer, which this has. So I've already got a firmware update. I've applied it. And we have this, which is the equalizer. And what I mean by global is it saves these settings onto the earbuds themselves. So if you're in Netflix, you're playing a game, you can have an equalizer, which you don't normally get with other brands. You only have to use the equalizer you get with, say, your music player, but this just works for everything, which is very handy. And then what about their sound quality? I noticed with the original firmware, they were definitely leaning towards very heavy on the bass. And they've toned that down now with the firmware update that just came through that I've applied to it. So they have a default equalizer currently set on the buds themselves, and I have a flat equalizer here or when it comes to power amp. So this is the tune out of the box now with this new firmware. Is more what I would call balanced, more flat. It's not leaning towards heavy bass like they were before. The mids at times can sound a little bit murky to me, not so detailed highs either. I wish they could improve that area where it's lacking a little. Now, if you do like very loud bass, you can get some good bass out of these, and it depends on the genre of music. I've been listening to rock and all sorts of things on them. They're good, the tweak of them that they've come through now with that firmware update. But there is still a bit of room for improvement, and I hope with another firmware update, they can just improve the detail with the mids, with vocals, and the highs as well could be a little bit crisper there. Volume-wise, very loud. You can push these really right up there when it comes to the volume, which is good. So I think people that love to have really loud audio, you'll like these. Video streaming services such as Netflix right here with an episode of Vikings, I have no problems at all with the latency. It isn't timed perfectly with all of the actors' mouths. It's not lagging behind the sound, which is good. The only area that I sometimes see and notice a little bit of a delay is when gaming with these, but it's barely noticeable.
Microphone sample now of the MoveBuds H1. So I find it to be disappointing, this quality. You can hear right now, I sound muffled. I've also noticed that the microphones are clipping, and that means the gain is just too high, so they're like a little bit too loud. I do hope that TriBit can fix this with a firmware update.
Talking a little bit more about the comfort of these and the fit. So the case, it's swapped around, and that's why there's a card in the box, just to tell you in case people were confused. So the left one is actually the right, and the right is the left. With normal TWS earbud cases, they would be the left is the left, the right is the right. So when you pull them out, for example, they're labeled clearly anyway. I've got the one on the left, but it goes in my right ear. So you simply need to hook the hook around, put it into your ear, and this is not going anywhere. That's solid, okay? And I never have to worry about jumping, running, or anything like that, feeling like I have to keep pushing them in, which I do with, well, non-sports orientated or focused TWS earbuds that don't have the flexible wings on the top. Now that wing, does it apply pressure to your ear? It does, okay? It applies a little bit of pressure, I've noticed just around the sides here. When you first get them on, like now, they feel fine. And I can go for about 2.5 hours before it starts to agitate me a little bit, that especially for some reason on my right, okay? I noticed that it starts to get a little sore, so after about 2.5 hours, I've got to give them a rest. I've got to take them out for a while and rest my ears there. So that's one thing. If you want to wear these for like 5 hours straight on flights or something, I think they tend to become a little bit uncomfortable there. But that's not really what they're made for. These are for sports. So they're not going anywhere. They're not coming out. They're great. Disconnect issues. Have I had any problems with them disconnecting? No. Okay, no disconnects. Bluetooth range is your typical Bluetooth 5 range. Not a problem there. So there are some areas of concern for me that they could improve. That microphone quality, all right, it sounds a bit muffled, it clips, they could improve that, hopefully with a firmware update. The other is the tune. The tune I would rate as okay, it's average, it's just the mids sound a little bit muddy at times, and the highs, it's just lacking detail, I find, a little bit flat there. Now, of course, you can tweak it and really improve upon things with a graphic equalizer. And I do love the fact that with the application, with these, you have a global equalizer, okay, that you can just use with Netflix, gaming, and everything, which you don't get with other brands. So it's great they have that application, that support. Now, battery life is another definite strength of these. That the battery in these just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes forever. They took me a long time to wear these down. So their claim is 15 hours. But real world, realistic kind of use with the volume, at least that I'm running, and genre of music, it's going to vary too with the battery life. Mileage will vary, as they say. So 12 hours. You're looking more like 12 hours with them, but that is excellent. 12 hours on a single charge, great. and then you do get a lot more out of the case. The claim from TriBit is 50 hours additional, but I think that's probably more like around 40, but still great. So combined, you're looking well over 50 hours of playtime, even though the case, yes, is a little bit bigger, but it's normal for this style of earbud. So thank you so much for watching my review of the MoveBuds H1 from TriBit.